Hello?
Wake up!
Oh, hey, Jordan.
Be awake when I call.
But I don't know when you're gonna call, so when would I sleep?
When I'm not calling. Am I being unreasonable? No.
No, it's not unreasonable at all.
Excuse me?
Taking the boss ladies on a warpath this morning.
I'm money. I got money.
Every morning.
No! Ding dong! Ding dong!
Money.
I really think I could help this company if you just gave me a chance.
Just concentrate on being my assistant.
Were you always mean?
I got big and I got rich. So now who gonna check me, boo?
I wish you were my age. Then I'd check you, boo. I wish you were little.
I told you, watch it.
And the black Jesus.
Y'all gon' make me lose.
How did you go from this to this? You went to bed grown and then you woke up little. But that's for white people, because black people don't have the time.
Y'all gon' make me
What? Child Protective Services, enroll this child in school or somebody is going to jail.
By somebody, do you mean... Jordan, to everyone else, you're a child, so you have to start acting like it?
Get back to work.
Whose child is this walking around here in a tiny pink pantsuit?
Ladies all across the world. I need you to cover for me in the office.
I should probably dress the part.
Your body can't fit into my clothes. This is squats. This Pilates.
That body looks like Baby Gap, Gymboree, Oshkosh Bagosh to me.
Fine. Damn, girl. Looking like Cookie from Empire.
There's your teacher. I could tell that you are a special young lady.
I feel like you get me.
Really? I feel like I get you too.
So you feeling what I'm feeling?
No, I'm not feeling that at all. Don't look at me like that. Just look the other way. Look up there.
Ladies all across the world, listen up, we're looking for recruits. If you're women, let me see your hands. Representing all the women. Salute.
What is going on?
Is this rich people Postmates? Put me in the middle of that.
Oh, who are you? Well, I'm April, with the A for available.
Think you're the boss of me?
Say one more thing, I dare you.
You're too fat for that skirt.
Okay, see, I've been looking at you like a little girl, but you a grown-ass woman.
We have a BMW situation. Black mama whooping.
I told you not to test me. Yes, start spanking your kids.
Remind me of my mama.
What's up? You guys hear me? What's up, AUC? First and foremost, before we get started, I want to thank you all for being here. I mean, my Spelman sisters, faculty, alum, and guests and peers of the AUC, and just a big special thank you to Universal for even making this conversation possible. Yes. Here at Spelman, whenever we gather in Sisters Chapel, it means that there's a message that needs to be heard, and today is no exception. So let's get started. Again, if you guys are tweeting or taking pictures, please be sure to hashtag Little Movies so we do not miss a moment of what's happening for today's conversation. So, are you guys ready? Without further ado, I would love a big round of applause for the cast and director of Little. Ready? We have Regina Hall. Issa Rae. Marsai Martin. And director Tina Gordon.
I came out during your applause.
I know. Ladies and gentlemen, the woman behind the Little.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys so much for being here.
Happy to be here.
Before we even start, I want to give a special shout out to Will Packer, who's in the audience. Woo! Producer behind Little. Thank you so much for being here too. I want to start off by saying, I mean, this movie is the epitome of Black girl magic at its finest. the idea from a young black woman, directed by a black woman, here in Atlanta, filmed, set in Atlanta. I mean, it just feels full circle to come to Spelman and have a conversation. So can you all please just talk about what this moment means for you today as the movie's about to come out?
I didn't get accepted into Spelman.
Well, I'm here!
So that's a true story. And so for me, I just think life is incredible. You can take all kinds of roads to get to a place that's special to you, that you held in your heart. And so that's personally what it means to me. To be here and just be around all of this energy. It took a long time to get around all this energy, but I made it.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. Wow. This is just so amazing just to see an amazing and beautiful group of amazing black women that are doing their thing. And this is exactly what we wanted, was to have just some great black-owned magic on screen and out in the audience as well. So this means a lot to me in my heart, so I get to see people who look like me that are just doing their thing and being confident in themselves. So thank you.
I'm super, super happy to be here just because. Thank God. You know, we were just talking backstage about this is who we represent and this is who we make content for. When I first did promo for Insecure, this was like one of our first stops before the season started. So, you know, thank you guys so much for your support and your excitement, and we hope you watch the movie.
I'm excited to be here because I feel like I'm looking at an incredible future. I see like beautiful faces and incredible minds, and I am hopeful, and I am so incredibly proud to be a black woman amongst you all.
Yes, absolutely. I want to get started with you, Marsai. Not only was Little the idea that you came up with, but also you executive produced this film. Can you talk a little bit about what that means? Because a lot of people don't even know what goes behind executive producing a film.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, like when I heard like the producer title, I was like, what is that? Interesting. But a producer is basically a person who like helps provide for the film and also help create it also. For me, I also created Little, so when I actually heard it, it was like surreal to me because I thought this actually happened. Like I thought someone my age that has done this before, and I was just like, you know, producer title, hey. But when I heard that I was the first one, and it happened to be a young black girl from Little Texas, which was me, it was, yeah. And it was it was surreal, and I am just beyond grateful just to be around amazing people and surround myself with like positive energy all the time. And I think that's what like keeps me going. And of course with my wonderful parents and my little sister, like them helping me, you know, just guiding me through this process is absolutely amazing, and it means a lot to me. So
what I love so much about this movie is that I think that it highlights wearing many hats in the industry is a gift. And it's something that you should do. You should know how to wear many hats. Issa, can you talk a little bit about being a writer, coming up with your own content, starring in a movie? How does that feel navigating those spaces?
It all kind of happens by accident, if I'm being real. Doing a web series. I was producing web series in the past before Awkward Black Girl, before putting myself in my own, and was just directing, editing, producing them. And then when I came up with the idea for Awkward Black Girl, I wanted my friend to be in it, but she was like, girl, I'm in DC and I'm in law school and you're not paying, so. And I was like, okay, cool, that's what's up. And then just decided like I didn't want to wait for anybody, and I was in it, and so that ended up catapulting my career and working for HBO and working with HBO rather, and working on Insecure. You do wear multiple hats, but I have so many great people who are in specific lanes to just help me because it's a learning process throughout. And something like this was kind of a vacation in that, you know, you have this wonderful director, the creator here, and star, EP star here too, and all I had to do was just come to set and kind of just execute someone else's vision, and that was such a pleasure, and I learned so much being a part of this production that I could also apply to future films that I do and do apply.
Right. I think it's important that we bring each other in on projects. Because oftentimes, if we're not given the opportunity, we have to create it for ourselves. And I think that's such a huge message, even outside of the movie. So can you guys talk about bringing in other women of color, bringing in your peers to give them the opportunity to elevate themselves as well?
I'd say for Little, for example, after Marsai, you know, I just sort of vibed on her courage and going out and creating something new. In terms of making Little, I started looking at other Black women that would be doing different things that we could use in our production to present in the movie. So I found an artist on Instagram, Shemaya, who she actually did I was looking for a reference for Issa, and then I saw she did a fan art for Issa. And so I asked her to do the art for the movie. So Big Jordan's apartment is done by a very cool artist that I found on Instagram, and a lot of the fashions that people love. That you don't have to be like in a store. We love what you're doing. Let's do something together. And I think those smaller steps are just as important as when you get a co-star that is going to be in the film.
Love that.
And also have to give a shout out to Will, who, had the foresight, Will Packer, obviously, who had the foresight in creating a project or producing a project like this to make sure that Black women were at the helm, Black girls were at the helm, and empowering us to be able to tell our stories. So that matters too, and that matters in terms of giving people chances and making sure that we're able to carry the torch and do the same moving forward.
Right. I have this question for you guys. Considering Hollywood's eagerness to kind of capitalize on the bankability of Black content right now, do you, as producers, as storytellers, as writers, are you concerned about that eagerness maybe compromising integrity of projects, or how does that make you guys feel?
Do you want to take that?
Who wants to talk?
Yeah, I'm concerned about that. I think, but what I feel like is different, because they tried. You've seen that happen a lot of times. I remember when Scandal came out and was so successful, then a lot of networks were just like, let's make our own version of Scandal and just plug in a Black woman or plug in a down white woman and see if it, has the same effect. And it doesn't. It doesn't. You said what? It doesn't. Oh, you're agreeing with me. I didn't know. I was like, I was in the show, and it was. And I think there's a level of authenticity that that we all crave as an audience, where we're just not gonna let anything ride. You're not gonna have success if you're not authentic, and if you don't have the real storytellers telling those stories and taking the reins. So while I am concerned that there's an eagerness to be like, oh, Black is great now and it sells, that the real good content will rise to the top.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Issa. I want to ask this next question to Regina. Jordan's character goes through this evolution after being bullied, where the world hardens her. That is a true story for a lot of people. They let the world harden them. They let the industry harden them. They let outside forces really affect their growth. How do you stand up against those forces while also remaining soft in the process?
I think right now we're in a space where we have to remember that we were built as empathetic creatures, you know, and it's easy to forget that. And literally, especially black people, I mean, that's what we do. We are a familial people. And I think we have to make sure that we embrace one another, that we never separate that. I mean, that is our divine power, that we look at another person and that we realize, you know, but for the grace of God, there go I. So when you look at someone and you see someone being bullied, don't just pull out your phone. Like, get involved. Well, I don't know if they big, stay away, but I don't want nobody getting hurt out there. But what I do think is that we all have a voice. We all have a voice to make a difference and to make sure that we watch out for one another and that we keep accountability for ourselves and also our brothers and sisters, and that's what's so beautiful, and that's where our real power is. Right. Our power is in support, not in division, and you guys are amazing, and you have the power to support each other, and that's what's so great about this project, that we got to be able to support one another in all different aspects, and that's what made it also a joyful thing to be a part of every day.
Right. I love that. Another theme of the movie that really stuck out to me was rejection and how you meet rejection and how you respond to hearing no's. Can some of you talk about your personal philosophy when hearing no's, especially in this industry where that can feel very final?
Well, hearing no's throughout, well, for example, when I was, you know, in the process of creating, I was 10 at the time. So, you know, when people, thank you. 10? Yeah. So when people saw me, it was more like, no, you know? Like, yeah. I'm literally just a 10-year-old girl who's still doing school and trying to learn the ABCs. Like, you know, no one wants to talk to me and, like, hear what I'm trying to say. But I feel like when you stick to the right people and go with the people that you trust, which are my parents and my family, and Kenya Barris, which is the creator of Blackish, I grew up with them. Right. And then adding Will Packer to the mix and just them hearing my story made me feel more confident in myself, because I didn't get to see that often. And it was more of, I think because I was like a black girl, I know it was because I was a black girl, because I was, you know, they judged the book by its cover. Yeah. So I feel like now we're in like a different place where people are seeing us more, and when they strive to do what's great and what our passion is, then people will see more of that and see more often. And I don't think there should be any more first. And I think, you know, when Black Panther came out and A Wrinkle in Time, it was like, oh, dope, we gotta watch this for like a certain audience. But I think it's like for like everybody, and I think people need to see that more. I don't know if that makes sense, because I'm like all over the place.
No, it does.
But you know, so.
No, it does.
I'm like all nervous and stuff. Okay.
No, it does. I think, too, there's this misconception in Hollywood that things happen overnight. Yeah. And people get put on overnight, and people's stories get heard overnight.
It's tough because I think with the idea of the bullying and the rejection, even when writing and working on Little, at the end you have to ask yourself, what are you distilling the message down to? And it sounds simple, be yourself, right? But that takes so much time to hear that voice versus all the other voices that are telling you, you can't do that. Nobody's done that before. You're not from the right place to do that. Or watching you on social media, or you're watching someone else's life and judging it against that. And it's a long process to hear that still voice. And even when someone says no to you, you can hear the right voice in your head that says, keep going. Right. Keep going, keep going. And so you have to sort of get quiet to hear it. And that in this society, it's hard to take that time to do it. Right. But it's a simple message, be yourself, but it's a process to hear the right voice in your head to tell you, go, go, go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I feel like, too, as Black women in the industry, we're met against certain barriers that maybe not everyone experiences. Can you all speak a little bit to those barriers and how you overcome them when it seems like you're kind of coming against a brick wall?
You know, it's weird. Like, it's a mental trick, I think, that I do where I don't absorb it, really. Regina?
Regina was talking.
Well, you know what? This is the time where we stop everything and we just turn it over to Regina, huh?
Yeah.
Woo! Yes, Regina.
No, I wasn't really. No, Issa was littering. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. You see this?
It's not littering.
She put this between the sofa, and I said, Issa, we're at Spelman.
I put it under my thigh.
This is an institution.
I
Do
put it
not
under
be
my thigh.
a litter bug.
This happened
This is
every
every
day
day,
on
guys.
set.
Don't worry.
On set.
It's okay.
I would never do that.
No, I know, but I will say, just always know that you guys are in an amazing time because when I started, you know, people weren't creating their own content. You guys, with the example of Issa, with the example of Marsai, you have power in your hands. You can create things.
Period.
And so, you guys have a voice where you get to support things. You literally dictate what's on a screen. So when you want to see people like you, watch people like you. Be the person that's on the screen. Do like Issa. You guys have a breadth of opportunity. And so that's what's exciting about this. Like, your no never has to be final because you can say, oh, really? I don't believe that no. Watch this. Right. And you create your own yes.
That's what I was going to say.
What she said.
Do you want to add to that, Issa?
No, she said it perfectly clear.
I think as creators, sometimes creating your own content can seem scary and it can seem very big. What's some advice for people who want to create but feel like, oh, I don't have the budget, I don't have the resources, I don't have what are some solutions to that type of mentality or to that type of thought process?
For me, I always think about what I do have, you know, because that was the big thing, was just like, oh, I don't have this, but I do have a camera, I do have friends, I do have, you know, my dad's office, I have my mom's car, I have all this, and I can put these pieces together to make something, because there really is no excuse at the end of the day. When it comes down to it, we have so many resources, as Regina suggested, just at our fingertips. And it really just is about sometimes calling in favors. And if you called in too many favors, then figuring out another way to make it work, or offering your services in exchange for something. But there is always a way. And I try to surround myself with people who believe the same thing too.
Right, right.
And I'm going to tell you all this. There's not a person in the world that says no that can stop God's yes. Woo.
Absolutely. Praise dance. Say the praise dance.
T.
I want to ask Tina, this being your first feature film directing.
I'd have to sing Amazing Grace to top that now. I don't know what else to do.
What were you super intentional about making sure it came across in this film? Because there's a lot of thematic events that are touched on that I think are so profound, but did you have an overarching vision for the project as a director?
Aside from, as I mentioned before, just trying to showcase Black women that are just exceptional at what they do and hope that you feel it in the texture of the movie, I was inspired by the relationships that you see here, the intergenerational exchanges that happened, you know, behind the camera with Will. Because Will is so much older than... I'm just kidding. Marsai.
Okay.
No,
Wow.
but highlighting, hoping the audience, that in addition to the messages that you know about, that you kind of feel that support and love between everyone, you know, in the midst of the comedy and all of that. that was kind of like my intention.
I want to make sure we get to some audience questions because we can sit and talk all day long. Well, I could. So we're going to move on to some audience questions. We have a question for everyone, for everyone on the panel. So I'll start with Regina. You have had such a successful career as an actor. Will you do any directing in the future?
Ooh. You know what's interesting? I will. I just talked about, I am going to, look, and when you know people who got shows on the air, you go to them, right? And you
any day.
And I just got a job. So I'll be directing an episode of Insecure. And,
Yes!
You done messed up now. Yes, you will.
And Will Packer, he's looking at me, so I think I'm gonna be directing the Will Packer production. Tina Wright, so I'm gonna be right, you know. But no, I would love to do that. And it is what's great. That's what's been so great about Will, is all the opportunities. And as much as I'm joking with Issa, you do know that if you are telling people that you are like, I wanna try, they're gonna give you that opportunity. So yeah, I always wanna do different avenues in the business. And I encourage everybody too, you know, now is the time to wear more than one hat.
Right. Love that. So Tina, this one's for you. What are some challenges you face as a Black woman director?
It's hard to separate it as there's challenges, but I don't know sometimes if I go, this is a Black woman director challenge specifically. But I will say that it's interesting because you have to sort of be the boss, be assertive, and then it's interesting to watch people's expectation if you have to be too assertive. Right? And so I feel like sometimes you pay a penalty, or you notice the penalties that go into, she's behaving this way because she's a woman, she might be irate because she's a Black woman, and it's a mind trip where you're like, no, I'm really mad because this is wrong. Yeah. Right, this happened. And so, to be honest with you, it is a separate navigation. That's the most specific thing that I can think of, where you kind of come out of your body and think about that. Right. But I think through your hard work, getting to where you are, you own that space, and you'll become your own boss as you feel comfortable in your own body. And so it's through not just becoming a boss, but working through yourself and getting to that moment. And then you own that space.
This one is for Issa. What was the first step that was beneficial for you that led to where you are now in your career?
The first step? Who wrote this? This is, who did
Show yourself.
Show yourself. That was you? Okay, I'm not mad at the question anymore. Thank you for your question, I appreciate it. The first step, I guess, would probably just be investing in myself. I think the first, you know, you always doubt yourself. I doubt myself a lot, just in terms of, you know, like, my head is filled with questions. Can I do this? Can I, like, you know, we talked about earlier, I don't have this, and I don't have this. So, you know, it was getting rid of that doubt and being like, nobody else is gonna do it for you unless you do it. No one else is gonna give you a chance, you know? And for me, it was always about recognizing that, because early on I did try to put myself at the networking parties and put myself close to like a Spike Lee and magically hope that he would be like, I recognize talent in you, work for me, you know? Or doing, even when I started doing videography, just to try to make a pathway to direct and produce. Like, I used to be doing wedding videos and high school talent shows and editing them and spending time there. Like, maybe somebody will see this wedding video I did and being like, you could edit, and that means you can direct. And it was just like, no, I just have to do the work and make it happen for myself, and then, you know, see what happens after that. And so that was an incremental step. It's just deciding to invest in myself and trust myself.
That's great. That brings me to the question for Marsai, is what inspired you to start your own production company? And what kinds of content do you see your production company creating in the future?
Oh, nice. What inspired me was, like I said, there's not a lot of young black girls that are doing this at my age. So with me creating Little, that was kind of just the beginning of it. And I knew in my head I wanted to create more stuff, and I knew this is my passion and what I wanted to do. So that's kind of how it all started with Genius Productions, and just keep on moving forward with content that I love and that I want to see on TV or film, and to give my friends the opportunity to do so as well, and to, you know, have those things that people won't give to you. And they won't give us the opportunity to do what we love. So that's why I created my production company, for me in the YA space, and also me as a black girl in the business. And then content, just things that I love. I'm into like reality shows, drama, comedy, of course, and just things that I want to see more of on TV and film too. Because, and for me, I always see like men like making movies and stuff that are like for high schoolers or like the YA space, and then you look at it, it's like, that's probably not something that we would do. Like,
exactly.
Like, come on, we don't say on fleek anymore, guys. Like, come on. But like those type of things, it's like, that's not what we would do. Right. So for me, I wanted to create stuff that is coming up from a perspective that I've been in before. So that's the type of content that I want to create.
Thank you. And this one is for everyone. Who in the industry influences your technique the most, and what advice do you have for younger performers?
Okay. I would say early on, although my style is in his Spike Lee, I was just blown away from like his early, She's Gotta Have It, and then I realized he wrote it, he directed it. I was like, what is going on? What is this? And then later on, I actually enjoyed the works of Nora Ephron, who was a writer turned director. And I would say that mix was the kind of inspired me.
There's a lot of people who inspire me. Like, it's a bunch of people that I worked with, like whether it's Tracy Ellis Ross giving me like an amazing, my TV mama giving me, you know, some tips on how to get through the business and what the challenges that you may take, and, you know, those type of things. And also Beyonce, of course, even though she's in like, you know, even though she's on the music side, she still gives me the best advice and the best presence of just being herself also. Wait, what? What did I say? Oh, no, she doesn't give me advice. No. Like, advice, I wish. But advice for me is more of like the presence of them being there, and like how she, you know, her confidence and like who she is like as a person. That's the best advice like people give me. Look, guys. Yeah. But the advice that I give to people like me, or people striving to do what they love, is I feel like everyone says be yourself, but I think just like having confidence and believing that you can do it, and just going to people who you trust, and, you know, you don't have to start big because you see someone doing something as big as that. You have to grow to that point, so. Right.
People who influenced me early on, definitely Spike Lee, as Tina said. John Singleton, just how he puts on for LA too, which is where I'm from. Anybody from LA? Hey. LA, okay. Everybody who's not from LA, I mean, you could have given some. I know, who was hating? You from LA? That's what's up. Rep. Oh, we got y'all shirt. I love it. That's so dope. They're not from LA. Okay. That's fine. And Gina Prince Bythewood influenced me. It's how I discovered this wonderful actress right here from Love and Basketball. And I guess my advice would be to find your tribe. Like, I didn't do any of this by myself. I worked with some amazing people. It was just all hungry people that I met along the way who were passionate, and that has made all the difference in my life. So find your people.
You know, the same people. I also loved F. Gary Gray. You know what I mean? I liked movies like Set It Off when I was coming up, and I used to look at like, you know, actresses, you know, who are my age, and then other ones like There's so many, you know. I'd probably name them, y'all be like, who's that? But they're from so long ago, because I always like watching people, and everybody likes to do something different. I like to become a character, you know what I mean? It really excites me, because the real Regina is very shy. Don't do it. She was about to say something.
My mic was right here. I wasn't saying anything.
But I am, but it, like, in a character, I feel like it's great because I get to, like, disappear, so that's exciting for me. And then, you know, my advice would be to, it's gonna be like weird advice, but you don't have to be anxious for anything. Like, this is an incredible time. This is an incredible time. You're in college. You are learning. This is an incredible time to absorb information without the responsibility of everything. This is time to really delve into your creativity. You have, like, the world it's waiting, but you don't have to rush it. Like, enjoy it, learn. You're like beautiful, like, little beacons of light, you know what I mean? And, like, so absorb it so that when you are out there, you're ready. And I know everything feels like it's quick, but all things in God's time. And so, and you all build, you know, she talked about communities. Like, if there's a group of you now, you can start building your community now so that eventually you can, you know, help each other. And it might be 4 years down the line. I mean, Issa and I met. Issa was homeless, and we met. I was driving down the street. This is a true story. This is a true story.
It's not a true story. You can't say that.
And I said, I was driving, and I saw this girl, like, on a little box, and I said, true story. I said, that girl right there, I bet she could write. And voila. You see that? See this?
What made you think that I could write? Just based if I was sitting on a box?
Because your box, you had a sign. And it said...
That's right.
And what she had written on it, I can't remember, but I was impressed.
But you knew it was good. Okay.
But the truth is, we did meet years ago, and you never know how... And Will and I met years ago before we worked together. And
He was homeless, too?
No. Oh. You know what? Will was hitchhiking, and I said, this brother got a nice smile. He ain't gonna hurt me. And I picked you up. You remember? No, but the truth is, you never know how people come into your life or when they're gonna be in your life and when they're gonna be supportive. And so make sure that you build a community with each other. Right. Because in 5 years, your same friend might be, like, working at a studio, and you might be able to slide somebody a script or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be entertainment. And so just remember that we have each other. So let's remember to have each other.